No way. Oh my god, are you joking me? The fucking thing spins easy. Are you shitting me? Did I just take this whole son of a bitch apart for that? Welcome back, guys. So, this video is going to be a little interesting. As you've seen by maybe some of the shorts, we were having some issues with our Wolfe Ridge 28C. So, I originally thought it was an engine problem. And I think, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this video just yet. You might see it here. I ripped down the engine completely. I tore the engine off this machine. I checked the flywheel. I checked the valves. And then I ended up tearing the whole motor apart just so that way I could get to the camshaft and the decompression spring that's on the camshaft. It was nothing wrong with the engine whatsoever. So I think we'll jump to just that section here for a couple minutes. And then we'll be back and we'll talk a little bit about what happened actually with this. But it's a good, video to see if you guys are curious on how to take one of these Honda GX390s apart. So let's do that and we'll come right back. All right, guys. So we're back here today. We finally got the new gasket packs for the engine. So now we're just going to go ahead and get these things installed. So I just set my camera up here that way I can make sure you guys can see at all times pretty much. Set my phone up. So we're trying to get this gasket kit installed here. This is the Honda GX390E. I think the E is for electric start. We're going to get this gasket installed. We're going to get the valve cover put back, or get the crankcase cover put back on. We're going to get the valves set right, get everything back together. We're going to check the compression. And we'll move over to installing this back on the Wolfe Ridge log splitter. And then hopefully we'll have a test here at the end of it running and making sure everything's okay. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so we're going to get this cover popped off the side here. This is the crankcase cover. So there's a couple bolts in this thing, but we're just going to loosen this up. I put a couple on here just to test everything out the other day. Let's get this engine pulled off to the side some more here. Don't worry, I'll give you guys a better view here once we get this case opened up. What's going on inside. Let's get this, all these bolts out. I had this all back together, and then I realized I wanted to put a new gasket on it. So we're going to take this all back apart, which is fine. Not a big deal. Get this gasket scraped clean here. Okay. Here's your valve cover. See, I had a couple pieces stuck on here or there. So, I got sucker there. It's like, grab some paper towels here. No, we're gonna need them. So a little bit of oil dripping out there. It's not from this. Let's just make sure this is all timed right here first. So you guys can see here how these two dots line up right here. This is your camshaft, and that decompression spring I was talking about is on the back side of this camshaft here. So you want to make sure that you line this up. In the video I had watched about put this back together, is make sure that you pull the camshaft out so it's flush with the main shaft. Make sure those two are lined up. Shove her back in. Let's see here. Let's get this out of here so nothing's getting caught. Give her a rotation around. Go 180 degrees. See, that's all the way over here, and then spin her the rest of the way around. And then we're good, we're back. Pull this gear out a little bit so it's flush. You guys see those two are good to go. Once you do that, and you want to rotate this around, this is the balance shaft here. This one's a little bit harder to see. Let me see if I can get a light on this. A little bit harder to see, but there is some dots on these gears here. You can see there's one right there, one right there. So you want to make sure you spin those around to where they are aligning as well. That's how I know this thing's timed right. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pull this stuff out, get the gasket cleaned off, and I'll be back when I'm ready to put this new gasket on. Alright guys, so we've got this stuff all cleaned up now. I'm going to go ahead and try and get this put back inside here. This stuffed up in here. So here's your camshaft. Here's your decompression spring on the back. That little lobe back there that spins. That is your decompression part. So let's go ahead and just give this a quick spray off because there's a little bit of gunk on it. So there's no particular way to get this started. I just like to kind of set it somewhat in the back slot, leave it down, and then, ooh, I don't want the flashlight going anywhere. Let's just try and get this, let's see here. That'll do. Spin this thing around here. So you can see there's a little detent right there. I'm gonna spin this out. Got put on here. Rotate that, just pull it out a little bit. Go up 1 tooth, I'd say. Oh, nope, too far, 1 tooth. Back 1 tooth, there we go. Okay. So now that is aligned. Guys, don't worry about the stuff I sprayed on there, just brake clean. I am going to run a 5-hour preliminary test with this with some junk oil, then pull it all out and put some nice AMS oil in there, so shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so we've got that detent all lined up right there. Should be good to go. Push that sucker in. Grab the balancing weight back here. Just make sure there's not too much stuff on it. It's still nice and oily. Okay. This one is kind of a pain to get started, I thought from the last time I did this. Rotate this engine around. Right about yay. Detent is right here. Come on, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now those two detents match up. We should be good. Spin this sucker around here. Okay, like I said earlier, pull this guy out just a little bit. Those guys line up. Good. Spin it around. Those guys line up there. Okay, we are good to go. Now, go ahead and put this cover on. Brand new gasket, as you guys can see. I didn't change the output seal because everything seemed to be fine with the output seal, but I do have an extra one just in case if it ever does start leaking, but not going to worry about that today. This was a little bit of a bugger to get on last time. Should be good to go there. Guys, I did back off the valves too, just for ease. Trying to put everything together. This should be good. Okay. We'll mess with those then. Let's go ahead and get a compression test on this thing. Let's see here. I did drop this on the ground earlier, so. Should be 60 PSI. When this thing was broken, we were sitting at 115 trying to pull it earlier. So here we got our PSI gauge. Go ahead and pull this thing a couple times. I have to hold this here. 60 psi on the dot. Let that all out. Set that guy down. .60 psi on the dot. Should be good to go. So I will be back here once we are going to start putting this thing back in the log splitter. All right, so now that's all back on there, all back together. So we'll cut to another part here where I believe I got the motor all installed and I try and crank this thing over and it still doesn't crank over. And then we talk with Wolfe Ridge on the phone, actually. Not sure how much I'll show that because I was doing a little bit of cursing on how bad I felt once I figured out exactly what was wrong with this machine. But we'll jump back here and I'll tell you guys exactly what had happened. All right, guys, we got this thing bolted on. I didn't show you guys a video of that. So we got oil in it. We got everything torqued down to spec, took everything apart, torqued to the spec. We're gonna give it a first try here. Haven't even tested it yet, so I didn't hook any of the battery stuff up yet or anything. Just gonna turn the gas on here, choke on, low idle. I would call that a win. Just like that. Well, I would think it's safe to say that that decompression spring was just stuck. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. I'm not sure what else. I mean, I took apart everything on the motor that you basically can besides taking the piston out. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get the battery box put back in this thing and the battery and get everything, get the pump put back on. And let's go split some wood, see how it works. Yeah. No way. Oh my god, are you joking me? The fucking thing spins easy. Are you shitting me? Did I just take this whole son of a bitch apart for that? Oh my god, I feel like an idiot. Oh my god. Alright, so now you've seen that. What had happened was this valve right here was stuck out. just like that. To the unknown eye, you might not see it. To a guy that's maybe been running this thing for a couple hundred hours, you might have known right away. For us only running this thing for 30 hours, we did not notice that. So Helen was splitting the one day and it ran out of gas. Well, when it was running out of gas, she had just split a piece and it was coming back, and it had stopped. It ran out of gas about an inch before it hit its end stroke here, which kicks this valve back. So I filled it up with gas for her, went to restart it, and it just wouldn't restart. And it just sounded sluggish, like the battery died and something was wrong. When I talked to Wolfe Ridge on the phone, they originally were like, hey, I think you blew a pump probably. They had me do a couple things, and it didn't work out. They're like, yeah, I think you blew a pump. It's like, okay, let me get a new one. They said about $500. So it's like, all right, I mean, it is what it is, you know, but on a 60-hour machine, I was like, dang, that sucks. But then he said, hey, let me go talk to somebody real quick. And this is where I'll really throw credit Wolfe Ridge way. You know, I was on the phone with them for about a half hour, and they were really trying to walk me through a bunch of things that could have been wrong. And those guys are great. You know, this just shows like the customer service you get out of something with an American-made piece of equipment, just amazing. But one simple question, all he had to go do is ask. I'm not sure who he asked, but he said, hey, this is going to sound dumb. Is one of your valves open? And I'll show you, like I was standing just like this back here, you know, looking at the pump, just talking on the phone. And I just so happened to look up and I was like, well, let me see if I can push that down there. So looking back there, it's kind of hard to see. But like you can kind of see the one looks like it's down. And I was like, well, you know, let me walk over here and see. And I was like, well, yeah, one of them is down. He's like, is the one on the very outside towards you? I'm like, yeah, it is. He's like, yeah, push that in. So I pushed it in. He's like, try and spin that motor over. And it spun over fine. So put the phone down. He said, put the phone down, put me on mute, hook that thing back up. I got a couple minutes to kill here. I think this was on like a Tuesday, you know, and it was pushing 5 o'clock. I know they're out in Wisconsin, so it would have been, you know, pretty close to 4 o'clock for those guys. Hooked it all up, started up fine. So, you know, this whole experience here, I'll just say I learned a lot about the splitter itself. You know, very appreciative of Wolfe Ridge and them helping me out get it fixed. And it was just a stupid mistake. That's all it was. I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't even think that would be an issue. He said, what happens? You know, that valve was out. That thing was trying to build pressure the whole time. The motor just couldn't spin it over. So, you know, if Wolfe Ridge is seeing this, thank you guys for helping me out. I really do appreciate it. I wish I would have got the guy's name on the phone who I talked to. But it was great. You know, then I talked to him a little bit more about the splitter and a couple other things that, you know, he said I might have to do, you know, later on in its life, which was great. You know, we talked about some of the upgrades that can be done to this machine. So I was very, you know, appreciative of those guys. So yeah, if you guys ever have any problems with Wolfe Ridge equipment, just call them up, and you know they were able to help me out right away, thankfully. So with that being said, the splitter is fixed. We have been processing wood now. Today is the 16th, I believe, January. We've been splitting wood for the last week and a half. No issues whatsoever. Everything's fine. Motor's good. You know, did a nice oil change on it. Checked the oil here before I started this video. We're good. Like everything's working. So very happy. One upgrade I am going to do, I think, to the splitter is that leg right there. This thing's 1,400 pounds, guys, loaded down with no wood on it. That leg, I'm going to cut this off, this base off, and I'm going to add like a small 5 or 6 inch rubber caster wheel you can get from Harbor Freight. I did that on a boat trailer one time, and man, it's so much easier to move around. So I'm going to try that. This thing can be quite heavy to move around, especially if the ground's slippery and whatnot. And with it hooked to the mower, like we can't always move it around to the tight space that we need. So I think we're going to go and do that upgrade. You know, we have bent a few things on the splitter since we got it. This piece right here, we did bend that a little bit. And right here, we bent this just a hair. I think this might be bent out, but I mean, guys, it's cosmetic stuff. This thing still works great. So, all right, with all that being said, let's cut to the rest of the video. I got some splitting, got a little bit of cutting. Bins are getting full. Let's jump into it. Alright guys, it's gonna be it for the video. We got a ton of stuff done here today. Probably got about 3 cords split, I'd say. Pile is almost gone. A lot of the stuff is smaller stuff now. So yeah, got a couple pieces laying here. I'm gonna clean up a few things, but overall, we are done for the day. It's time to go watch the Eagles game. So thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one.